Fit like, I hope you're all keeping well and welcome aboard again. Or should I say welcome into my shady again. Right, in this video I'm going to want to make a new rig for fishing in the next couple of days. So this rig is going to be made specially for my underwater camera, my waterproof underwater camera. But anyway, before I do that, this is the pearl rig that I made in the last video. If you haven't seen that, look out for it on my channel. I'll put a link in the description how I made it. And I was fair chuffed because it managed to catch 2 turbot. I think it was the second cast out. So the pearls work it. Anyway, when I come home after fishing, I swirl these things under the tap. I run a cold water tap and wash all this in fresh water. And you give the swivels a turn in my hand and that. Get all the salt off of them. And then I hang it up to dry. So I've already done that. And now it is dried out. What I do is I stretch it out. So it's hung up here and stretched out. You'll see how the snood has got twists in the monofilament, as you'll see there. At least I'm hoping you see that on the camera, you'll see twists. Once they're getting used, this is what happens with the motion, twisting them about and that, running about the lines and whatever, puts twists in them. So what I usually do is I hang them up like this and I start running my finger doing them like this. I actually use 2 hands, so what I'm going to do is I'll put these on top of the tripod again, try and set it up so I can show you what I'm actually doing to each snood. That was a rubber stopper there. I'm going to push it right down to the bottom for just now, and then I'm going to run my fingers down the line, stretching the monofilament, heating it up at the same time. So I'm doing that for all the twists is that. So I do this for a minute or 2 and it actually heats up the line. And then once that's done, I take a hold of the hook and the swivel end and then I pull it tight. Not tight enough to snap it, then I snap it, just stretch it a wee bit. And then you hold it there for maybe 60 seconds or just slightly stretched, and then release it. And as you'll see, well, hopefully you'll see, it's straighter. The snood is straighter now. It's took out most of that. Well, in this case, it's took out near all the twists. But you didn't always get them out, but it makes a big difference again. So it's ready for you fishing again. And then I'll slide this wee rubber stopper, because I've got a stopper on this rig. Then I need stoppers on them. You don't need beads, you can just hit a hook. But I'll slide this stopper out, back up again about that distance, so the beads is able to move up and down again. Now you'll see a twist on this end, then that end, and a couple of twists and that other ends all the way being. So I just can be in the whole lot and do this. As you can see, it is effective. Now you have to watch it and burn your fingers doing this, because if you press over hard it will burn your fingers. I think I've just gotten used to it. Now let's get a wee stretchy again, maybe 30 seconds again. Just try different times, see if it makes a difference. Right, and just release it again. I've hooked myself on the next thing. Now as you can see, that seems pretty straight again. And look at the twists in this one. So I'll get in and finish that. Mind pull this stopper up again. I'll get in and finish this and then get it in a pocket. Hopefully you'll see the difference. You maybe want to see what all the clutter in the background, because a lot of stuff in this shed. Big difference. Now, as I was saying in the last video, I like these pockets because I can stuff them into this pouch on my tackle box. As you can see, I'm dropping them. I've got heaps of them in the pouch with a tackle box. Look at that. Actually too much to be carrying about. But for some reason I've got it in my head I'm echt to run out on the beach. And you never lost anything on the beach. Oh, I have lost a couple of weeks, and I'm going to show you why I lost them and show you how to stop it happening and all. But anyway, look, I've got ends with feeders on them and they're pretty bulky, and all different shapes. And this is just my beach rigs. Well, some of them. That's the ends I carry about in a pouch. And as you see, I just stuff them in here. Like that. And that's it. That's my side for my beach rigs. I could actually get more in here. Not that you need more. But anyway, I mean, other folk, as I was saying in the last video, other folk uses foam rings or plastic ring things to hold other rigs. But for me, that's too bulky. I mean, the amount of rigs I've had wee bitty, if I had them in your foam rings or plastic rings, it would be too bulky for me for my tackle box, because I carry a heap of other stuff, flasks and reels and bits and pieces, and my piece, and camera batteries, cameras, weights and whatever, you name it, it's in a tackle box. It's very rare to lose anything on the beach, unless there's some rocks that you didn't care about and you've cast out of a rock. But I've lost a couple of weights, and I'll show you how I lost them, and I'll show you how I've stopped that happening. This is the gripper weights that I'm using on the beach, because most of the beaches around here, especially in the east coast, there's a lot of tide runs. Unless it's a really dull tide and not a lot of motion, if the sea's pretty calm, you'll get about wee weights like this. That's where you run things, and they move about actually finding a fish for you. They'll roll about and hopefully find a wee gutter for those fish sitting in. Most of the time, because some motion and tide on our beaches, I use this gripper lead. You've probably seen them explained to you before, especially if you're used to fishing, Ken. But for folk that doesn't ken, that's a gripper lead. Now I was using this in the last day. It's a 6 ounce. That's how much motion and tide was flowing that last day, and we needed that to take a hold to stop all your hooks coming together and just washing ashore. So that's the grippers. They just pop up like that into these grooves. You cast it out like that. Once it lands in the seabed, the spikes bury themselves in the sand. And then when you come to haul in, the idea is they pop out like that. Sometimes it's a job getting them out. Sometimes they pop out too easy. You can't adjust them, you see. If you was to take your wires and bend them out a wee bitty, so they still pop in, like that, but they're easier to pop out. But then if there's too much motion and tide, they pop out too easy. So you would squash them in a bit again. Pop them in so they're tighter. They don't pop out so easy, so the motion and the tide doesn't pop them out and then just wash on ashore. It's trying to get that happy medium, managing to pop them out pretty easy, but not easy enough for the emotion to pop them out. I needed that the last day, and I actually needed this in. This is a 5-ounce gripper weight. This in 6, but this in here is really good at taking a hood. It's actually got 6 prongs. If you've watched my fishing the last day, in the last video at Hakla Bay, you'll have seen this in on that video. So there's 6 wires. There's actually just 3 wires. It's really just one wire pushed right through, and then when you take it up, each wire makes 2 prongs sticking up. So there's 6 prongs actually sticking up. And that's a really good weight, that. I like that in when it's a lot of tide in motion. This one usually takes a hood, but it can be a job getting to it. It's worth it so that your lines bide for your sickening. Anyway, I was going to say to you, I lost a couple of weights, and the reason for that was, if you look at this, you'll see in here there's just a hairline crack. See that? Look, that's gone up through. Well, stainless steel wire, so it's really hard wire, and I have tried squashing it in as tight as I can, but the rise seems to be as hairline crack. It kind of springs out slightly. I've been using this wee clips. This is more than strong enough for the type of fishing we're doing on the beach. It's just kind of ideal for clipping on your weight. Pop out like that. You put them on your weight, and then pop a bit of back in like that again. Now, I never trust these things 100%. So what the idea is, I take my pliers and I give them an extra squash in. See that? It's a bit of a job to unclip them, but it makes them a bit stronger if you're really fast and you're tugging at it. But mine, I was telling you with this hairline crack. So watch this. Or maybe when I managed to get it off just now trying it. But when you shoot that out in the sea, for some reason it manages to come out of that hairline crack. You see, I'm trying it just now. It's not coming out. Why can't I get that in out? I just thought myself, I'm going to show folk if it's actually happening, and it's not happening, you see. I'll maybe try another one. It's just typical, is it? I've got a different lead, but same idea. And that's it on. And see that now? That's it off. And this clip is still closed. That was a wee bit of a job to take that off here, I know. But for some reason, it seems to come off no bother. Not all the time, but I've seen a couple come off, maybe even 3 leads that I've lost that way, and the clips come back closed. Look at that. Anyway, what I've done to counteract that happening is I put a wee blob of glue just over the top of the crack. That stops the clip for doing that, if it's ever going to do that again. Now, I was going to let you see my fishing reels for anybody that's interested. I'm just trying to show you that fishing doesn't need to be an expensive hobby. You don't need to buy big fancy reels and top of the range fancy rods. It's all cheap stuff at I work. The most expensive reel actually would be this lad. It's a Sonic SKS 8000 surf reel. It's for a surf. And I think they cost around about £45. Some places it's cheaper, some places it's dearer. Now I use this in for when I'm using the camera. I've got 60-pound braid on here, which is overkill for a beach. 15-pound is fine for a beach. But this is 60-pound braid because I use this for my fishing camera, because it's a fair clump of stuff to cast out, and then if you do come fast with it, you want a strong line to get that back again. Net cameras, they're not really expensive. They're £100, but to me that's expensive. So I don't know what they just cost out in Losset. Okay? So that's the reason for that strong line on here. Here's another reel I use. It's less than half the price of that in. This is a WSB Stiffy 170. Now, I didn't name him, so didn't blame me. So it's a WSB Stiffy 170. I think it's £15 mono it comes with. And I think they are just maybe £23–24 for that inch. And they're lovely reels, ideal for fishing the beaches. In fact, I've used them out in the boat. And then as this in here, it's Atlantic 70 FD. Just another cheap reel that I use in the beaches. It just catches the exact same as this dearer ring can. And this is not the dearest as you can yourself. Some of the reels is a fortune. But this one's here, I think you get 2 of them for £24 off of Amazon. Now, you can't go wrong with that. I think they come already spooled with £30 monofilament. Now, I use this on the beach all the time. Lovely reel for the job. And if it does pack in, you can laid with a muckle seller for it. Fishing doesn't need to be expensive. You don't need to be buying the best of everything. And I'm not in the front it using cheap gear, cheap reels, cheap rods. As long as they do the job, it's all the same fun and happiness that you're getting out of them. Look at this lad here. This is another Stiffy 170, different spool of another cheap reel, and I use that now. What a pleasure out of that. I hope this noise is not annoying you, because I'm charging a car battery in the background here. A couple of times now my wife's car didn't start, so I've had to get into the rescue with jump leads and jump start her car. Today, sister, check out the Halfords in price a battery and I'll get a battery for you. Well, she checked out now, the wife's just got a little Kia, small battery, and Halfords is seeking 170 odd squid for this little battery. So hence, I'm charging it in a shade, and hopefully it'll have its charges. I mean, it's maybe not up, but to give it a go anyway. I want to get going making this rig for trying out with the fishing camera. That's next time we're out. I was online again. I mind looking at fishing stuff. And you mind I got doing barrels the last day. There was no holes in them, so I had to drill holes in them. I was looking at these things this time. I don't know if it's for fishing or no. I think it's for making wee bracelets or something like that. But look, I'm hoping you see all the bonny colours in it. They're wee circles of metal. Round the outer edge of them, there's all different colours shining. It's like rainbow colours. Oh man, look at that. Can you see them shining? Hopefully. I mean, I think a fluke will go for it. Or even a turbot, hopefully. So I'm going to give out things a go. Then I can't exactly how I'm going to set them up yet, but I'll just think it out as I'm going. I also bought these things. These little worm things. You see that? And it's different colours. I'm not sure it's maybe for freshwater fishing, in a river or something, but they're wee rubber worm things. And I'm thinking of trying to do something with that as well. And I've got a wee box of rubber muggets. Yeah. They look real, you know. Maybe a wee bit big for a mugget, then I care. Yeah. There's different colours of them now. So I'm going to try and mock up something with it. If a fluke sees anything moving about with a bit of colour, different colours in it, it'll go for it. So it'll be interesting to see on a camera if it happens what thingies that we put doing. Check us out. That's my snood made up. A crimp swivel at one side and it's crimped on the other side of the hook and all. You'll have seen all this on the last video, but I'll mock up one again for folk that hasn't seen the last video. As usual, you'll see an offset on a hook. That's a shank on a hook and you'll see the hook offset. I've already done that with the pliers and I'll be doing that to every one of the hooks. As usual, I usually do that. I think the fish better like that, but you didn't need to do that to the hooks. Now check this out, look. That's all that bling things. I actually think they're for making a bracelet or something. Now I've put beads in between them, different coloured beads. And look at this, that's a mugget. And what I did with a mugget, I took a wee crimp, a little thin crimp. Crimp is just a wee tube. And I pushed it through the mugget and then threaded the crimp onto the line. You'll see, hopefully you'll see the wee crimp going through the mugget. I could have just pushed a hole in the mugget and threaded it onto the line, but I already did one like that, stiff on the line, it wasn't moving. But we're doing it this way, with a crimp in the centre of the mugget. See how it's moving about? Yeah, it can actually spin. So maybe the turbulence under the water will maybe move it about. And a fish will maybe think, oh, it's a real mugget or whatever. Hopefully it'll attract fish to the line. I'll have a wee strip of mackerel or squid on a hook for him to grab a hold of. It will be really interesting to see on the underwater camera. This is going to be 6 hooks. What I'm going to do is I'll mock up one. Let you see how I've made the snood. For folk it hasn't already seen how I mark the snoods. The pop-ups I usually put on just work like this. You slide them on the same and act as a stopper. You can slide it up and down the line. But in this case I'm just putting a stopper on because I'm just putting some bling on, some beads and that wee muggets or whatever. So I need a wee stopper just to keep them down the side of the hook, so they move about down the side of the hook and attract the fish towards the hook. So that's a wee rubber stopper. As you can see, the common thing like this, and thin wire going through the rubber stopper. You put your snood through it, and then slide the rubber. That's actually supposed to hold onto there, but for some reason this thing is just popping off. So I'm going to hold this end with the pliers, and you pull the rubber stopper over the top of the line. Take your line out. Now your stopper's on the line now, so I'll move it back out the road just now. Snap this bit off. I'm going to start threading on. The wee bit is a bling. I have a heap of wee beads here and keep them all the same colour or mix of colours. Or you don't need to put Nina's on it. I'm just going to put 4 on in this scene. I think the last one I had 1, 2, 3, 6. I had 6 on the last one. I'm just putting 4 on this scene. And I'm going to take a mugget again. I'm going to use my bait and needle to push a hole through the mugget. Small crimp. I should have my glasses, you see. My glasses is in the house. Trying to put a bait and needle in a hole in a crimp and then slide the mugget That's it. Over top of the wee crimp, just like that. Then I can thread my line, if I can see. Through the crimp. And because I'm putting through the crimp, the maggot is not gripping onto the line, so it kinda moves about around circles, which might make it look as though it's wriggling about again. I don't know, but we'll can from looking at the camera, we'll see if it's happening again. In another bead, I put a slightly bigger crimp through the line, then tuck my offset hook that I've already offset. The size 4 hooks through the eye of the hook, take a line back through the crimp, and just leave a wee tail sticking out, and pull the other side till it goes in about that amount. Squash your crimp 2 times on that end because it's a long kind of crimp, and that's your hook locked on. The crimp allows your hook to swing about like that, which makes it more catchy, I think. Right, and then I draw the bling back down towards the hook, and slide the stopper down, just for the ID, and leave a gap so that this bling can move about and do its thing. Yeah. This snood is the same length as the last rig I made. I've made it 12 inches for the end of the hook to here. It will be slightly shorter than this once I put the crimp on. So next thing to do is put a line through this crimp. Then we'll take a swivel crimp, put a line through the swivel, and put it back through the crimp, leaving a wee tail there. Pull it in about that amount. Squash it down. It's my charger. Sometimes the cooling fan in the charger starts vibrating. I don't know if there's a bit of dust goes on. You have to get a couple of whacks and then it gets quiet again. Well, quiet there. Right. And squash in that side of the crimp. It's your complete snood with the crimp swivel on one side and all the bling on the other side. So that's another snood done, and I'll hang it up here alongside the other one. That's 2 made. Right, I've another 4 to make, and then we'll slide them onto the main rig body. Now there's just some bling on it in, and I put a mugget on it in. I'm just going to leave it 2 muggets on, just to see if that track don't hang on about. Of course, you'll all be shouting at me and saying, what muggets are supposed to get on the hook? Just like that. But I thought I'd just put a couple on with the bling. It's really just for attracting a fish on a boat. I don't know if that would work. I could put a couple on like that, or in on like that, but I have mackerel. But it would be interesting to see if that did work. Leave that in on there for I know anyway. It's a 6 snoods made up, and I've hung them up here like, so they can sit here for just now, because I'm going to want to make a handmade feeder to get on this rig. Now I'm just going to put the 1 feeder on it. Because I'm making this rig for my underwater camera, my waterwolf camera, I'm going to put the feeder closer to the camera. And the reason for that is, I've had rigs out before with an underwater camera with feeders on them, and the feeder's been too far away from the sight of the camera, and there has been fish picking at it, but I couldn't see them. So we'll try this out. A feeder is just a wee cage thing. It goes on the line and pack it with fish. I'll be putting mackerel and maybe squid into it. It just attracts all the fish in about your line. Anyway, to make this feeder, I'm going to cut a wee bit of pipe off of this plastic fuel pipe. This is for one of your small diesel heaters. And I've got a wee bit of stainless wire. This stainless wire is off of a TIG welder. Cutting about maybe 3 inches off of the fuel pipe. Now you see it's still got a bow on it, so I'm going to bend it back a few times to straighten it out. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight, so that'll do. I'm drilling a wee hole through the two ends, just like that. Then I take my stainless wire, push it through like that, and make a wee bend in it so it bides in that position. Then the next thing I do is take a hold of that with the pliers and start making a circle. And you just keep doing this in a spiral, making a circle slightly bigger each time till it comes to about that size. Keep getting a bend now and again. When you come to the other end, you bend the wire like that, take a tail end, push it through the hole at the other side of the pipe. Then you should end up with something that resembles that. It's not the bonest of feeders, but it's stainless steel wire. It'll last as long as you not lose it. You can buy these things online. They're not dear. They're just cheap thingies. But what I found when I was buying them, the wire wasn't a stainless steel wire, because I think they were made for fresh water. So that's how I started making my onions. If you are going to be making one of this, I suggest you wear eye protection. Because when you're bending these wires, it's a really springy wire and it springs up and it can scratch you or maybe poke your eye. So it would be dangerous, okay? So wear eye protection if you're making any odd things. But you can just buy them online. They're really cheap to buy. But anyway, that's my feeder and I'll let you see how I put it on the line. Now this rig I'm making just now, the snoods are 20 pound monofilament. The main body is 30 pound. I want to thread the 30 pound rig body through the crimp swivels. That's all the snoods threaded onto the main rig body. Before I put the last snood on, I'm going to be attaching my cage feeder thing. So first of all, I slide on a crimp. Then I'm putting on a bead. Now the bead is to stop the feeder can pass the crimp, so it just holds it on place. And I thread on my feeder, right up through the pipe, another bead, another crimp, and then the last hook. Or in this case, this is going to be the first hook on this rig, because I wanted it near the feeder for seeing on the camera. Just like that. I'm making this my top end, so I just put a wee swivel on this end. It's a strong enough swivel for this rig. Tie knot your choice and snap it off, but leave a bit of a tag just in case a knot tightens up on him here in a tag. If a tag's short, it'll go through the knot and open out. That's just fine. This end with the mugget is going to be closest to the camera, so we can keep an eye on it and see if it happens, if there's any fish goes near it. And as I say, this is a top end, so it's just a swivel, and I can actually take a snood as close as that to the top end of the rig, the first snood. Give the crimps a squash. Not too hard. If you overdo it, you can damage a line. I had no bother so far anyway. And that's locked in place now. Next comes the feeder. So what I do is, how did the first snood like that? Slide it between my fingers. And the feeder's not fixed yet, see? So I want this hook maybe about an inch and a half clear of the feeder. You can make it longer if you want. I'm going to lock that crimp onto there. Slide the beads in the feeder onto the crimp. Lock the crimp on the other side. Get a squash, and that's your feeder locked in place. Your next hook, the same idea again. Slide your crimp swivel bean clear on the last hook, or in this case the feeder, and once again squash your crimp, and that's that in locked in place. Same again with the next one, and just do the same till the raw crimp done. Because this is the bottom end this time, I've tied a swivel with a weak clip to attach the weight. You can put any kind of clips on it you prefer yourself. And when you're tying on your clip, make sure it's a couple of inches clear of the hook. It just helps stop the hook from catching on the weight. That's it all rolled up and ready to stick in my tackle box. And I'll be trying out this rig in my next video, which is this week, and hopefully you'll get to see that this Friday. It'll be exciting to see if it's going to catch anything or no. We'll be able to see if it's happening on the underwater camera. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. That's it for now. Take care of die, dicht lines, and I'll catch you after.